Hello, I'm David Caspom. This is my Session 5 project presentation about my interview. I did an interview with Pastor Terrin Phillips, the senior pastor of Refuge Church in San Antonio, Texas, and these are his leadership thoughts. When talking about motivation, specifically discussing motivation in the workplace, in his experience, we asked, how are most people motivated? And he gave some insightful answers. He said you need a person that is a fit for the task. He said that you need to teach them how to do what they're going to do, then you watch them, and then you get out of the way and observe. But don't interfere, don't micromanage them. Let them do it their way as long as the task is getting done. So that was a key piece of information. Has he or she done a good job motivating workers, and why or why not? In his case, he said, yes, he's done a pretty good job with that. He says, again, give people an attainable task. No amount of motivation will get others excited about a goal that they cannot achieve. So that was good information from him. Next, I asked him about leadership and mentorship as it relates to being a role model, and what did he learn from good leaders in his life. In Terrin's case, he said, be early. He learned from others that the example of always being early or being on time. You never want to be late. That doesn't set a good example for people that you're mentoring. Another one was to always be a learner. Always be reading something, perfecting your craft, whether it be pastoring or whether it be something else. In leadership, you always need to be a growing person. People don't follow somebody that isn't growing and that isn't ahead of them as far as what they have to learn. He also said, try new things. Be willing to change if something's not working. Most importantly, to love people. Without people, you aren't leading. You're just managing. So if you want to be a leader, you've obviously got to have a focus and a love for people. So what did he learn from bad leaders? That was an insightful one. Be humble. Love people and don't try to control them. That was what he's learned from some bad leaders that he's had. Not very many, but he had some experience with bad leaders, and these are the kinds of things that they would do. They would try to control people. They didn't really have a love for people, and they weren't very humble. So those are the things that kind of set people apart. Has being in leadership been a rewarding or difficult experience? He said it has been very rewarding. He says nothing is as exciting as seeing changed lives. Ministry has a great opportunity to make things happen, and so that's what he loved about it the most, is being able to see people really change for the better, and to in this case, of course, get to know Jesus and have their life totally changed for eternity. So what are some of the great lessons learned while in upper management? Love people and help them go where they are, from where they are to where they won't need to go. Give them a chance to succeed. And of course, in ministry, that starts with finding people where they're at with their flaws, with everything that they've gone through in life, and being willing to get dirty a little bit and help them through that process of getting where they need to be. So many people in life have given up on themselves, and they just need somebody to believe in them long enough to help them start a process of change. So trace the highs and lows of your career. In his case, he had a very rough start. He came up in a home that was very legalistic, raised what he thought was a Christian at the time, but it turns out he wasn't. He finished high school, went to Bible college. It was a very legalistic school. He was very used to rebelling with his parents, rebelling at school, and that carried on into Bible college. He ended up getting thrown out of Bible college because of that. He actually was homeless for a time because even his parents thought his behavior was too rough for him to be coming back to home. So he lived in his car. There was a football coach at a local small college that reached out to him and said, look, we want to get you back on track. I want you to come join our football team and be a part of what we have going on. Really turned his life around. He ended up being saved by the witness of his roommate in college, and set a different path for him. That was his turning point, is when somebody believed in him enough to reach out to him, and then to have good role models around him, good football teammates that would do that for him. Since then, He's actually gone on to play some semi-pro football. He actually went on to be on the power team and Team Impact, using his physical abilities and his testimony to be able to reach people for Christ. So really turned that story around. So discuss characteristics of good and bad followers whom he's supervised. In his case, loyalty and entrepreneurship are things that he looks for in a follower. He says they need to buy into the vision and the goal, and they need to be self-motivated, to have a desire to do something special. If somebody has an attitude of, I'm just here to get a paycheck, or I'm just here to follow along, that doesn't bode well for getting a task done and done right. What you need is somebody that's willing to get dirty, get the job done, and work hard at it, so that they take a real interest in completing that task. How has he dealt with poor followers? He gives them grace, but he also gives them truth. He wants to make sure that they understand that he is going to love them through the process, love them through the change, but he does not sweep under the rug poor behavioral choices. He expects them to understand the facts and the truth about the matter, and to be constantly improving. So those are the kinds of things that he does. He's never hard on people, but he doesn't beat around the bush about making sure they're aware of what the truth is and what's acceptable. How do you get a follower to respond to change? Change must be part of the culture, is what he said. Teach people to be fluid and know that change is part of the process. If we aren't willing to change, then not much gets done. We just kind of get by. And so, he wants people to be fluid and do what they say they're going to do. Leadership is the key to getting things done. It is a people business that is measured by the success of the organization. Without leadership, nearly everything stops. Thank you for listening.